Good morning, Giacomo Castrogiovanni. I just got a message for Mr. Harris.
Good. Good morning. My name is Pete Freeman. I'll be your chair today. Alongside me will be Mr. Prater. He will be on the board, and Ms. Ledoux. Today's hearing, let's let everyone know we will allow 3 speakers in 3 minutes. I'll warn you when you get close. If you're about to finish up, I will let you finish up. But, we have to do that because of time constraints. The first thing I would like to do is get headquarters over here to introduce themselves.
Jason Thompson, sure. Parole Williams,
Francis Abbott.
Carolyn Stapleton, board member here. Observe.
Okay, the process we could do today is I will read some information into the record and ask you to verify it. Then we'll conduct an interview. Your case has been assigned to Ms. Ledoux. She will be the leader on the interview. At the end of the interview, we'll be allowed to ask questions. Also, he gets to put on his presentation from the defense and the victims, if we have any victims. I would like for the people here on his behalf to introduce yourself, please, and note to me if you're going to be speaking or not. Go ahead, ma'am.
Abigail Floresca on behalf of Warren Harris from the Loyola Law Clinic.
Okay.
I will be speaking.
And we're going to let you speak last. We'll let the offender speak second to last. So you will be the last one to talk. Okay? Ma'am, sir, your name?
Oh, good morning. My name is Stanislav Moroz. I'm an attorney. I'm just assisting Ms. Floresca, but I won't be speaking.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
My name is Roberta Harris. I am Warren Harris' sister-in-law, and I will be speaking.
Okay. Is your name Roberta Harris?
Roberta Harris.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
My name is Bernadette Fox. I'm a friend of the family and I will not be speaking.
Okay, Ms. Fox, that'll be noted. Sir?
My name is Darren Riverdale, I'm a friend of the defendant, and I won't be speaking.
Okay, I see we have the parole project on here. I'll call you at the proper time for you to speak. Also with the people at Anagola, the staff first, would you introduce yourself?
Deputy Warden Tracy Falgood, Reginald Latin, classifications.
Carmen Shipley, Offender Records. Jody Sturgeon, Program Consultant.
Are there anyone there, Warden Falgood, to speak on the inmate's behalf?
No, sir. Family's on another video for you.
Okay, great. With those of you on video, would you like to identify yourself? And you got to take it off of mute.
Good morning, sir. Giacomo Castro Giovanni. I'm a staff attorney for Loyola Law School. I'm here for supervision of Ms. Abigail Floresca, attorney for Mr. Harris, student attorney for Mr. Harris. And I will not be speaking.
Okay, sir.
Good
Anyone else?
morning. Good morning. My name is Brenda Palmer. I'm Warren Harris' sister, and I will be speaking on his behalf. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. Sister speaking. Okay. Anyone else?
My name is Katasha Harris. I'm Warren Harris's niece, and I believe you've met your 3-person max.
That was on, yes, ma'am, we have. Let's see, the attorney doesn't count, and we have two others speaking. We have, okay. Okay, but we will note that you are here for support. Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Harris, won't you introduce yourself and give me your DLC number for the record?
My name is Warren Harris. My DOC number is 91119.
Okay. Mr. Harris, I'm gonna read some information for the record. Please stop and correct me if you think anything is wrong, okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First off, you've said your name and your DOC number. You're serving a life sentence on 3 murders. You were sentenced in 1977 to life sentence. And at the time, I think you were 16 years old.
Yes, sir, I was.
Okay. All right. Your case today has been signed to Ms. Ledoux. Please answer any records that she may have.
Good morning, Mr.
Any
Harris.
questions?
Good morning, ma'am.
Mr. Harris, I don't know that I've seen anyone as diligent to try to get their GED as you have been. How many times have you taken the GED class, the testing?
Ma'am, it has been maybe 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and you worked hard to get that. You just received that last year?
Yes, ma'am.
So Mr. Harris, you were a juvenile lifer and were you resentenced or were you just given parole? Did you have to go back to court to be resentenced?
I was resentenced, yes, ma'am.
And in what year was that?
I believe in 22, ma'am. I'm not certain. You may have to speak with my attorney concerning that.
I would like, yes, ma'am, would you confirm what date he was resentenced?
2021, I believe it was in.
That's okay, just the year's fine,
Okay.
2021, okay. The reason I'm asking that question is because although you've had 128 write-ups,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
last one occurred in 17.
Yes, ma'am.
It was 4 years before you knew you had an opportunity maybe to get out. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So What happened? What flipped the switch in 17 finally? Why did you stop having problems in prison in 2017?
I stopped being around negative individuals, man, and allow myself to only affiliate with positive individuals who were doing positive things. I engaged in my fellowship regularly. That took up most of my time.
Well, I note that you did get involved in faith-based activities around that time.
Yes, ma'am, I have.
You started engaging in a lot of the opportunities in that particular subculture of the prison, the faith community.
Yes, ma'am. I come from a Christian background. My family has always been spiritual believers, and I continue.
Well, are you restarted? Because
Yeah,
looks like you weren't in the right track for many years there.
I was not. No, I was not, ma'am.
I read the background of the case itself. Pretty heinous crime.
Yes, ma'am.
Crimes.
Yes, ma'am. I take full responsibility, ma'am.
Okay.
I really do. And I regret that had ever happened.
So you have taken victim awareness?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
I want to hear in your own words, Mr. Harris, why should we consider letting you out?
I have rehabilitated myself. God has allowed me to reevaluate my life and set out on a positive course. That positive course had led me to obtain several certificates in healthcare provider. I'm skilled at landscaping, as various other trades, janitorial, and at present I am a academic GED literacy student. And I feel that I will be able to contribute to society in which the community I will live if given the opportunity.
Were you personally aware of any of your victims, or were these chance happenings? You know,
No, ma'am, I wasn't familiar with any. No, ma'am. I was not.
In the record, it indicates that you haven't had family visits, but I do see that you have your sister and a niece. So you've been having
Yes.
visits pretty often at the
Ma'am,
state penitentiary?
only when they are able to. My baby sister, whenever she can, she's here. My niece, whenever she's available and has the time, she will come also.
What is your greatest challenge looking at possible parole? Do you have any concerns, or what is your greatest concern if you get out?
Ma'am, I have a few nephews. I have one that I constantly pray for, and I wish to reach him before anything happened to him or before he winds up in prison. Not just him, maybe a few of his friends. You know, I would like to reach him.
I'm gonna reserve the right to come back and ask more questions later, but at this time, Mr. Freeman, I'm gonna turn it back over to you.
Mr. Prater, you have any questions?
Yes, sir. Mr. Harris,
Yes, sir.
you pled or you were found guilty of killing three
Yes, sir.
were those at different times? Tell me about the time in between each.
It was different times.
How long was it between each one? I'm trying to understand the crime. I don't care about the gory details.
According to the records, it was from February 13, I believe, until April 6, I believe.
Okay, so length of time, what? And there was a fourth murder. Did you commit that one too?
I was found not guilty. I was found not guilty, sir.
Okay. Did these all take place at the same place?
The same area, within the same area, sir.
Okay. And I'm trying to distinguish and find out, it sounds almost like a serial killer, okay? I mean, that's, with my background, that's what it sounds like. So what was the MO of this serial killer?
I understand. I was a young juvenile, teenager, with no sense of direction, a high school dropout, swallowing all kind of pills and anything you could think of at that time, you know. And I just sorry it happened, and I just wasn't in the right state of mind, sir.
Yes, I mean, did you set these murders up in order to rob the people? Or
No,
was-
sir. It was not a setup. It was not a setup at all.
Then why didn't you?
I was in need of money to support the drugs I was using at the time. I became affiliated with some of the victims, you know, and was asked to accompany them to their home. And at the time, when we entered the home, I robbed and killed those men, and I regret it. And I'm so sorry every day. I regret it.
That's all that I have. Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Okay, Mr. Harris, I just have one question. What have you done to address your drug problem since you've been in Angola?
I have taken drug courses, living in balance, step 1 and 2.
You plan up when you get out?
Sir?
Do you plan on following up if you
Yes,
were
sir.
to?
Yes, sir. I will certainly follow up.
And I'm sure Mr. Myers will have some stuff to say about that when he speaks. Okay, I have no further questions. So now we will go to the family. First, Roberta Harris, sister-in-law.
That's me.
Okay, you want to speak first?
Oh, on behalf of Warren, I just wanted to.
You can go up there to the podium, ma'am.
On behalf of Warren, I am his sister-in-law. I met Warren through his brother David. I'm married to David. Met Warren in '76 when his brother and I met. When I met Warren, he was this kind and gentle person. He stayed right next door to the grandmother, Miss Julia. And Warren was always taking care. He looked out for her. He made sure she had everything. He made sure his mother had everything. He made sure his siblings had everything. But like he admitted, with the drugs that he got a hold of too, it just did something to his mind to just make him do things out of the ordinary. But he was raised in a Christian family. His grandfather was a minister. His mother sang in the choir. They were required to go to church on Sunday. But like you said, once he got out into the streets and those drugs got a hold of his mind and his brain, he dropped out, and then we just don't know what happened from there. But we still love him.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kerry Myers?
Good morning, Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. This board already knows Mr. Harris was 16 years old, addicted, had been addicted for some time before he committed these crimes. We also know that 16-year-olds and addiction can lead to some horrible consequences. We know why the brain science says that juveniles are different. But Mr. Harris, I think Ms. LaDuce said it correctly, 7 years ago, the light completely clicked on before he knew he was going to be parole eligible. And he rededicated his life spiritually. He worked very hard on his GED, his programs. Mr. Harris is now not a 16-year-old addicted child. He is a 64-year-old man who has served 46 years for these crimes. He has a support system. One of the things that will happen immediately, address any concerns that you may have about that, Mr. Freeman, is he will get an evaluation, substance abuse and mental health evaluation from our social work staff. And we'll make sure that any recommendations are followed through that. Not only that, after 46 years, from a 16-year-old now to a 64-year-old man, he's going to need the type of services that we can provide, that the in essence detoxification from the institutionalization that he's been involved in for the last 46 years. And that's what our program is absolutely geared to do. He will learn technology. He will, in steps, he will learn social norms, which are certainly different from when he entered prison. He will have the ability to continue to access our social work department. He will learn financial management. He is still healthy. He is still employable. He has employment waiting for him. His sister has offered him housing and has been supportive throughout this time. We're here to help him through that for as long as it needs to be. And once he's completed our program, Mr. Harris has a strong support system. So we would just ask this board to consider the fact that, he is not the 16-year-old addicted child that committed these crimes. Regardless, you can't minimize any of the actions. They were horrific, but this is the whole capacity to grow and mature is the reason we're here today. And so we'd ask this board to consider all these factors today in making their decision.
Before I go to the subject and the lawyer, Warden Falco, do you have any comments you would like to make?
Yes, sir. Good morning. You were talking about the history of Warren's record, and at one time he did have a Class A trustee status. He worked in beautification for us outside the fences for 8 years. Then in 15 lost that on a write-up, had that other write-up in 17. He's worked his way back up to a Class A again. When he did back in 2017, worked his way back up to a Min B. His job was a union supply stock clerk for us in the warehouse. He was responsible for a lot of inventory that was worth a lot of money, and those jobs are jobs that we will put inmates in that we can trust to the degree of, even with oversight, that they're going to do a good job for us. And he did that until 18, when he went into his full-time GED. And I think he was 6 times in his GED attempts, and finally there, and now he's a tutor. So Yeah, he definitely in 17, as you guys stated, has done a good job in turning that corner and maintaining his process and his projection to where he is now. So his focus has changed.
Thank you, Boyd.
Sure.
Okay, Mr. Harris, would you like to make a statement?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am?
Ms. Palmer hasn't spoken yet.
Oh, okay, I thought he had his speaker. Let's see. No, he hasn't. Ms. Palmer, would you like to speak?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. I'm Warren Harris, baby sister. And we all were disobedient to our mother and our grandparents coming up. I was pregnant at 14. I was a grandmother at 40. And throughout the years, we all have turned our lives around and went back to the foundation on which we were brought up on. And that was the foundation of Jesus Christ. I have seen Warren grow throughout the years. We all were in prison those 47 years with Warren. Like I said, we were all disobedient as children, and I got pregnant. I was smoking weed. I was in an abusive relationship with my children's father. But throughout the years, we stayed connected. I had been going to the prison since I was 4 years old. Our father was in jail since 28. Our mother was abandoned by her first husband and then abused by our father, which was in jail for 28 years. Then Warren, he's been in there for 46, and my other brother, he's been back and forth for 15 years. So we've all returned back to the foundation on which we were brought up on. Thank God for that. I've seen Warren mature. He's helped me throughout the years. I've sent photos when photos were accepted. I've sent money throughout the years, visits throughout the years when our mother was living, now that she's gone. Now I'm a great grandmother at the age of 60. So Warren has been like a father, uncle to my children, my grandchildren, and we lean on each other. When I go and visit, I don't just go to visit him. I go because I need him. He's been a support to me with the JPay and the emails. He encourages me. He sends me letters and prayers and so I'm here to be here for him till the day God calls us all home. I've seen a change in all of us, how we've changed our lives and living the way our parents really intended us to live. But I thank you all for this opportunity, and I thank my parents for raising us up in this faith base, because 47 years ago, this opportunity was not possible. But we prayed and asked God to forgive us of our sins and to have mercy upon us, to pity us and spare us. And so this day, He has made this day possible. And I thank you for the hope of it. And I thank you for the joy and just the confirmation.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Okay, Ms. Floresca? You ready?
I'm ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Unless you wanted Warren to speak first, I wasn't sure.
However y'all want to do it. Usually the inmate speaks first, so it's up to you.
We can have Mr. Harris speak first.
Okay, Mr. Harris, your attorneys,
Yes.
want you to speak.
Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. This morning, I now have the opportunity to address the Savall family, Palmer family, and the Delano family. This matter should have been addressed years ago. but because of matters concerning contact, I was not able to do so. To each family member of the victims, I sincerely apologize for taking the lives of your loved ones. I'm truly sorry and regret what had happened 46 years ago. Your family has suffered many years missing someone very special who has been taken away from you. I'm truly sorry. During my years of incarceration, guilty feelings has gripped me deeply. My guilt has motivated me to call out to God, asking for his help, for change within myself. My prayer had been answered. God allowed me to reevaluate my life and set me out on a positive course. I become a servant, giving my time and the very little resources I have, helping those who cannot help themselves. I continue praying, asking God to give me the ability and to continue to allow me to be a positive influence to those around me. I'm truly sorry and regret the offense I had committed. I apologize to the community for these crimes were committed. I'm very sorry and very remorseful. I appreciate this opportunity that has been given me. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Floresca, please.
Good morning. My name is Abigail Floresca, and I'm a student attorney at Loyola Law Clinic, representing Mr. Warren Harris. In 1977, Mr. Harris committed devastating, horrible crimes, taking the lives of multiple men and striking fear and pain throughout the community. As you've heard today, Mr. Harris is deeply remorseful and ashamed of his crimes, and he's carried that remorse with him every day for 46 years. In these 46 years, he's channeled that remorse into processing the harm he caused and becoming this mature 63-year-old man he is now today. I know the board is well aware of Miller versus Galliano, how even children who commit heinous crimes still have the capacity to change. Mr. Harris is truly the personification of that ability to change. His life shows that when children are removed from abuse, drugs, violence, and dysfunction, they can become totally different. 16-year-old Warren ran the streets and didn't follow the rules as he heard. 63-year-old Mr. Harris is a trustee and hasn't had a write-up in 7 years. 16-year-old Warren did all he could to numb himself with drugs. 63-year-old Mr. Harris finds peace and joy from singing in gospel bands like the Transformation Gospel Band, the Pure Heart Messengers. His favorite song to sing is Wind Beneath My Wings. 16-year-old Warren sat in his grandfather's church, nodding off high on heroin. 63-year-old Mr. Harris has earned 41 certificates for Bible studies and his contributions to ministries, such as the Leadership Builders. 16-year-old Warren took the lives of multiple men. 63-year-old Mr. Harris takes care of the elderly and the sick in hospice. 16-year-old Warren dropped out of the 8th grade and didn't see a future for himself. 63-year-old Mr. Harris spent 2 decades trying to get his high set, and when he finally earned his diploma, he immediately turned around and became a literacy tutor, helping others achieve the same thing that he did. Mr. Harris has earned a total of 56 certificates for programming and accomplishments throughout his time in prison, and he was dedicated to learning many years before Miller passed and parole was even a possibility. The board has asked about Mr. Harris's plan for recovery from addiction to drugs, given his history. And Mr. Harris has recognized that recovery is a lifelong process, and he will always be an addict, and that's always going to be a part of his life. But he's willing and ready to join Narcotics Anonymous meetings and anything else that the Parole Project is also going to support him with, finding those resources. I've included in the parole packet a list of local Narcotics Anonymous meetings in the area where he is going to be living. Should the board grant parole, Mr. Harris has the support of his family, his friends, and the Parole Project. As you've heard, the Parole Project is going to help him with reentry and everything that he's going to be needing, navigating, coming to the free worlds after 46 years. His sister Brenda has supported Mr. Harris his entire time in prison, visiting him, supporting him, and she's ready to give back to him as well. Mr. Harris is also hoping to give back, as you heard, mentoring his 9 grandnieces and nephews, continuing to sing and worship, and doing landscaping, a passion he discovered while at Angola, striving to make the world around him more beautiful. The significance of Miller hearings is that children who have spent the majority of their lives incarcerated have the opportunity to show they've changed. And in 46 years, Mr. Harris has done just that. Today, he's a trustee, a man of faith, a literacy tutor, and a source of support to those around him. Pastor Savoy wrote, "He has a heart for people and a life that reaches those who seem to be unreachable." In light of the person that Mr. Harris is today, we urge the Honorable Board to grant Mr. Harris's parole. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Now we'll vote. Ms. Ledoux, since you have the case, you'll vote first.
Mr. Harris, you have to understand, all of us take this role very, very seriously. And I read all 200 pages of your file several times. And I've gone back and forth on this. Hearing you today was very insightful. You have a low risk assessment on the tools that we are provided with. You have good plans for your release. You have what I consider adequate institutional educational accomplishments. I can't change what you have done in taking the lives of those people. Many times I ask myself before I make a vote, would I live next door to this person? Would I be afraid to live next door to this person? Mr. Harris, there's still some things in your record that concern me, some of the write-ups that you've had, especially the 21s. Okay, I'll be honest. Okay. 21. But at this point, after 47 years of incarceration, I believe that you're ready for the streets. And so my vote today is to grant parole, with the condition that the Parole Project tune in very carefully to your needs for your giving you the tools to make good decisions. Okay, so my vote is to grant.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Prater?
I've heard some very strong arguments and recommendations today, and I applaud you, Mr. Harris, for your growth and the accomplishments that you have accomplished. I think you're truly repentant of what you've done. I think we all have our mission fields in life. I'm a strong believer in that. I truly believe that your mission field is there at Angola, at Louisiana State Penitentiary. And it's similar to, I guess in my mind, it's similar to a person that might smoke and then develop cancer and then quit smoking. They still have the cancer. They still have to pay the price for what they did. And so having said all of that, and considering the fact that you were given 3 life sentences to run consecutively, my vote is to deny.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I looked at this, Mr. Harris, in a lot of ways. You were 16 years old when this occurred. You were on drugs real bad.
Yes,
That does not make any excuses for what you did. It was, like your lawyer said, it was a very horrific crime. But I do feel that you've done all you can do in Angola. That that your work is done there, but you have plenty of work left. So my vote today is also going to be to grant to the parole project. Okay, Mr. Myers, I want him very thoroughly drug treatment. I want him to look at that closely. And if he needs inpatient treatment, you get back with us, okay? Gonna do that. Also, I want you to have drug screens 2 times per month for the first 6 months. You fail any of those drug screens, I can promise you, you will be returned. And that's all the conditions I'm gonna put on you. I'm gonna let your officer put the rest. I thank your family for showing up here today, and your representatives have meant a lot. Like your sister said, y'all need to all grow together.
thank you, sir.
World's gonna be watching you, I can promise you, so be careful. That's my
Okay.
vote.
Congratulations.
I just have to say, Mr. Harris, it's
Ma'am?
very difficult to make these kind of choices, okay? And then I appreciate what you've done.
I understand. Thank you, ma'am.
We don't have. This is yours.
Yeah, that's mine.
Michael Love. Blue water. Blue water. I think it might make it so. Okay, good morning.
Morning.
We will be reopening at Angola. This hearing will be on Michael Lloyd Jones. Is anyone here to speak on behalf of Mr. Jones? Please identify yourself.
Is there anyone with you, Mr. Freeman?
Nobody's with me, Warden Falvey. Please have for your audience, all of them introduce themselves.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Tell me if you'll speak tonight.
I'm his father, Michael Dixon.
And you're speaking, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Michelle Jones, his sister.
Are you speaking?
Yes.
Okay.
Daniel Ambrose, his cousin and also employer.
And you're gonna be speaking too, correct, Ms. Tambo?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is Mr. Lonnie Jones there?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Jones will know the parent support and Michael Jones. I don't know if he's there or not, but
He is. Yes,
he's
sir.
a son and he's also there in support. When you come up to speak, name your relationship to the offender, okay? I don't see anyone in opposition here this morning. So let me put some information in the record and we'll get started. Okay, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir.
Sentenced to life in prison for habitual offender, simple burglary, and habitual offender for a firearm. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I should have stated, my name is Pete Freeman. I'll be the chair today. And with me is Mr. Prater, and Ms. Ledoux. We also have Ms. Singleton here in observation to learn today so she can teach us some stuff. Okay, so let's get started. Mr. Prater.
Yes, sir. Mr. Jones, how are you today?
Great, sir.
I wanted to ask you, you're in jail right now for simple burglary of an inhabited dwelling. And that occurred in 2009, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you were originally charged with aggravated burglary, correct? And you pled to simple burglary, correct?
Yes, sir. Well, I got found guilty of a lesser verdict at trial.
Okay, you were found guilty, but you were also found guilty of felon in possession of a firearm, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the firearm that you were found guilty of, did it come from the burglary?
Yes, sir.
So in fact, even though they found you guilty of simple burglary of an inhabited dwelling, it was an aggravated burglary. In my view, if you got a gun from there, correct? I mean, it's just one of the elements of the crime, but the jury chose to not put that on you, correct?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, and then you were multiple bill, and that's where you got the life sentence on the multiple bill. Because of the fact that of your previous, and I've got a list of your previous charges, possession with intent, crack cocaine of 6 counts, and then another time possession with intent of cocaine. That's a different than the 6 counts on crack. possession of cocaine, which is different, disturbing the peace. And you've been out, you were allowed to, one time out on probation and that was revoked. And 2 times you were on parole and both of those were revoked. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All that led up to the multiple bill. Have I got all those facts correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, your last infraction that I could find was in 2022, and that was for aggravated disobedience, and you were written up for that in jail. What caused that?
Well, sir, I was, and I take responsibility for the incident, but I was living in the back of the dormitory and the officers, they rotate the doors going outside. When you go in the yard, they rotate the doors. So the officer was going to shut the door and I was running from the back of the dorm to go work out. I pushed the door to try to stop her to get out the dormitory, and she hit the beeper, say that I pushed the door and tried to knock her down, which I did use force on the door. And I take full responsibility that I did. And I mean, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for it. I used a little too much force trying to get out of the door. So
Okay.
that's how.
All right, and that kind of like the burglary where you kick the door in, right?
I mean,
We have a problem with these doors, don't we?
yes, sir.
Well, how do I mean, you're wanting to get out of jail and you got 12 years on the burglary, but in fact, that was a simple burglary, and because of the simple burglary, it wasn't a violent crime, considered a violent crime, although you did take a gun, which made it ag burglary, which is a violent crime, but that's not what the jury found you guilty of. 15 years on felony with the possession of the firearm that you got from the burglary, and then the multiple bill. Tell me, and then you get out, and 3 different times you're given a chance, and you violate your probation, and twice you violate your parole. Tell me how come, convince me I can trust Michael Jones.
I was young. I was very immature. I was misled in my thinking pattern concerning life growing up. So, I mean, I matured a lot since then, and I understand slowing down and just really thinking about what you're thinking about, period. Just, I mean, like I said, I have matured a lot. And I know there's no excuse for my past and the things that I've done, but I mean, I know risk factors now. I understand the risk factors and just slowing down your thinking process, period, and not allowing my actions. So my thought process, I know now that the things that I think about, not allowing my feelings to make me feel like I got to act on things and cause negative consequences, cause unwanted consequences in life, period. Because I understand when you victimizing somebody and traumatizing people and society as a whole. So I'm not that person anymore. And like I said, I was misled growing up in the society that I grew up in and thinking that, following the trends and the things that go on, in society. And I have learned a lot throughout this incarceration, and I have wisened up a lot because the self-help classes that I actually took them serious. So, and I learned from thinking for a change. At first I had anger management as my top priority, trying to really control my anger. But once I got into victim awareness, thinking for a change, and I kind of learned a little bit about victim awareness too. But when thinking for a change, I learned the risk factors in your thought process.
Let me stop you just a minute, Mr. Jones. And all that's interesting, and I listened to it very carefully. And and you're getting into your statement later that you'll be able to give. And so we'll hear that. I just was asking for just a short, why should I trust you deal? So why don't you say what you're saying now in the essence of time, and you'll be able to say it in conclusion, you'll have a chance to give a longer statement, okay?
All right. But I grew out of that, sir. I really grew out of the immature stage that I was in. And I know better. I take life more seriously now. You know, me being an older man, I know, you know, I mean, I really want to change. I really want to change for the better for my family, for my son. You know, I really want to be able to spend time with my family again. So the things that I learned, I took it serious as far as changing my life and really trying to do better in life, period.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jones. That's all I have.
You have any questions, Mr. Ledoux?
I was interested in finding out, you've been back and forth to the hospital a couple of times
Yes,
recently.
ma'am.
Can you tell me about that situation?
Well, I was, excuse me for laughing, but I had got into working out a lot, and I used to be trying to work heavy when I couldn't handle the heavy weights, and I was, well, the weights chained down on the iron pod, the weights chained down to the bench. So when you grab the dumbbells, you're not free with them. And I was trying to show off with one of the guys that I was working out with the 80-pound dumbbells. And the chain snatched on the bench, and it slipped and hit me. One of them slipped. One of the dumbbells slipped and hit me across my chin, and it broke my jaw and caused I had to get 2 plates in my jaw. So that was one of them. But the first one.
Okay.
Okay.
So what was the first one was related to working out too, or?
No, ma'am. That was actually a altercation that I had got in. That one was an actual altercation with another offender that I had got in.
That one.
Was weapons used in that altercation?
No, sir. I was just in a cell. We was in a cell. I was in a cell at the time on administrative segregation, and we got into it in the cells. And I was cornered. I had my back towards the urinal right there in the cell. So he just really got the best of me, and he broke my jaw.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
I have one question. What were the contrabands for?
Cell phones, sir.
All of them were cell phones, none of them were drugs.
No, sir. They were cell phones.
Have you ever busted out on a drug test while you've been there?
On a dirty urine? No, sir.
Yeah.
No, sir.
I have no further questions. Okay, now we're gonna let the people speak that are here on your behalf. First one will be Miss Michelle Jones, sister.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Michelle Jones. I'm Michael Jones' sister. I'm right, well, me and Michael is 364 days apart. So I basically grew up under him very, very close. We're still close to this day. We did grow up in a hard life, and we had to figure things out on our own. And it wasn't easy. Me as a woman, I never been to jail, thank God, but it was very hard. We had to raise ourselves. I'm sorry. We basically raised ourselves, figured life out on our own. And throughout the years, Michael being here the 15 years, I've been very close to him, calling him, well, he calling me writing him, sending him money on his books and things like that, and talking with him. I can see a whole difference within him. And, you know, I myself told him things on how I overcame, anger issues, because we were angry because, we didn't have parents at the time really in our life when we needed them, and we had to figure it all out on our own, surviving, financially, physically, mentally, everything. So, throughout the years, I told him how I overcame out of the things that I overcame, and I've seen a big difference in talking to him. He helped me out with things I was dealing with at, certain times throughout the years. And I do see a bigger change in him. And it is possible, that he can get out here and do better for himself. I did better for myself. I'm a owner of a women's clothing store in Slidell, Louisiana. I've been there 7 years. One son, 31 years old, a 5-year-old grandbaby, so I know that it is possibility that throughout your past, you can come back and even better. And I know and see it within him that he has that change in him. Our family, despite what we went through, my whole family, I see and know have good hearts. And we're not the type of people to go out to try to hurting anybody. But sometimes, anger do get the best of you. And when you're young, you don't know no better. But when you get older, you can see the consequences. And throughout those years, I seen within him, he hurt it a lot of years not being there. We just lost 2 siblings, 2 brothers. He's my last brother I have. I lost a 24-year-old brother the year before last, and a 50-year-old brother from COVID in 2020. So this is my last brother. My family is real, real small. And I see the difference in him, and I know he want to be out here to his only son, to get to know him. He lost a whole lot of years in his life, but I know and I see that, with whatever he been doing with the classes and things like that, and with God help, and I know he's deep into religion, that he's going to get out here and be a better person. And I'm quite sure, with my help, I'm going to be by his side as I have been these 15 years to make sure that he do that, because we're older now. I'll be 47, he be about 46. We always been close in age and close, knitted. So I'm willing and going to make sure that he gets wherever, housing, jobs, whatever he needs done, clothing, financially, I'm going to be here for him, as I always has been these last 15 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Danny Ambrose, cousin.
Should I stand or? Oh, you can stay right there.
Louder, don't you speak loudly.
Hey, I'm Daniel Ambrose. I'm Michael Jones' cousin. And actually, me and his sister Michelle are the same age. And just to reiterate what she said, we grew up a little different. I mean, well, I had my mom and dad, and who was also a part of, their life much as they can be. And just growing up, we didn't have a lot of options. We didn't have the things that we have and we understand now. Right now, I am the business agent of Local 39, Ayati, the Stagehands Union. And with Michael, we talk a lot. And I also know that it's things that I can help with in society. I'm eligible to get him certified for over 12 different heavy operating equipment machines. I do all the hiring at the New Orleans Convention Center for the Stagehands and also Teamsters Union. So with employment, he have options. His sister's an entrepreneur. I'm also an entrepreneur. I own a dealership. And I really didn't know he was doing a body work. I didn't know he got certified, but he told me about it. And we talked about it a while ago when I opened up my dealership, because I have sometimes cars that come wrecked. So even with that, I'm proud to see that. And I know Michael's changed a lot. I know he has. And like you said, the opportunities wasn't there. So we went off survival instincts. And as we grew and we understood, and we were born into other families that had a little more education and had a little more things that was going from, then we understood and we saw better. But Michael didn't have a chance to get those things. So we started bringing it to him. And when he was learning in prison, he actually educated me on a lot of things that helped me in society. And he wasn't even there, and he helped me. So he's a big reason why I am who I am today with Local 39 being a business agent. So I just want to thank you all, the council, and I want to thank Michael in front of everybody because I never thanked him for me being where I'm at.
Yeah,
He really did a lot. So, but thank y'all, council. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Dixon?
Yes, sir. I'm Michael Dixon, his father. I just want to say, when Michael was coming up, me and him used to go cut grass together. You know, Michael used to go to Win Dixon, and bring people groceries to the cars, and bring the money home to his mother. He is a good guy. And I want to try, I work offshore, I'm a cook offshore. And I want to try, if he don't get a job with his cousin, I was going to bring him offshore to cook offshore with me. And I just hope he get home so he, all this could happen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, real quickly, I saw in some of the comments that there were some victims that commented. Is anyone on this telecast that would like to speak? Any victims of opposition?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Also would like to for the record, and there's nothing you can do about this, Michael, but this is the recommendations from the DA and people of that nature. Let's see. The judge didn't comment. District attorney didn't comment. The sheriff didn't comment. The chief superintendent is opposed. And the victim, one of the victims in this matter, is also opposed. I think that's all we were able to contact. Okay, so now it's time to wrap it up, Michael. Wait, Warden, do you have any comments? Warden Falvey?
The only thing and I'm not sure if you guys have this, he did complete thinking for a change in January of 24. I don't know if that made the record for you guys or not. Other than that, no, I don't have anything to add.
Thank you, Curtis. Okay, Mr. Jones, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Just apologizing to the victim, Miss Keandra. I mean, I understand now, like I was saying previously, I understand the trauma that you cause when you victimize somebody. And, you know, when that crime was committed, I was immature and didn't know any, well, I can't say didn't know any better because I was of age, but I was misled in the wrong thinking pattern. And I mean, like I said previously, I just want to send my deepest, I never know the amount of trauma, how deep that the trauma was with her and her family. And I don't know, I can never imagine how much it is, but I do, even if the wounds is still fresh in her heart, with her, I just want to let her know that my sorrows are multiplied because I was the one that caused her that great pain. So I just want to apologize from my heart for real. And hopefully, you know, she can forgive me for my actions in that situation. And that's all I got, sir.
Okay, thank you. Is the board prepared to vote?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Prater, you vote first.
I think because of, Michael, because of the number of crimes that you've committed in the past throughout your life, and the fact that you did commit this terrible crime of really a home invasion almost, or it was a home invasion. You broke in, kicked the door in, did all of these things. And then a big thing to me is that 2 times on parole that you busted out, and 1 time on probation you busted out. And so that coupled with in 2022, less than 2 years ago, or around 2 years ago, the deal with rushing through the door. You were trying to get through something, you didn't come hell or high water, you going through that door. And that's indicative there of somebody that doesn't have a good control of themselves in this situation. So all those things combined, I'm voting to deny at this particular time, not to cut you off from trying again, but I want some more time between your last disobedience, your last write-up. I want some more time in there to show that you really have changed. So I'm voting to deny.
Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, I have found that the programming Thinking for Change is one of the most valuable tools that we offer to our inmates, allowing them to really start to put some tools in their toolbox. I want to encourage you to write back for another chance, but my vote today is to deny. I really do believe you're on the right track. I think you need a little bit more time to mature and to understand the consequences of some of your choices. So today my vote is to deny.
Okay. All right, Mr. Jones, you've already received 2 votes to deny, so you know the outcome today. My vote would also been to deny at this time. I do feel like you're headed in the right direction. I think you should reapply as soon as possible and stay right up free before you come back, okay? So
Yes, sir.
that's my vote today. I think you're gonna have a shot at it, so don't let this deter you, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, today's date is April 17th. We'll call this hearing back to order. Once again, serving with me, I'm Chair Pete Freeman. This is Mr. Prater and Ms. Ledoux will be serving with me today. Would you please introduce yourself for the record?
My name is Joe Galliano. My DOC number is 471711.
Okay, Mr. Galliano. Okay, today what we're gonna do is we're gonna have your parole hearing. Even though your date is not till December, we can have them further out if we have opportunities. So even if you would be granted today, you would not get out to December. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so today, speaking in opposition, we will have Mr. Randy Myers of the DA's office in East Jefferson. We have Mr. Robert Lancaster and law student Louis Bersalt. I hope I'm saying that right. Mr. Bersalt, will you be doing the talking?
Yes, Mr. Freeman. So Robert Lancaster here with the LSU Law Clinic. With me is Lou Borso. She's an international exchange student from France who assisted Mr. Galliano in preparation of the hearing and worked to prepare the packet submitted to you. If the committee deems it appropriate, she's prepared to make a statement of support at the end of the hearing.
Okay. We have Mr. Kerry Myers of the Louisiana Parole Project. Here but not speaking, we have Tammy Ortego, sister, Esther O'Brien, godmother, Alex Galliano, nephew, Darrell Lane, stepfather. We have Adrian Hutchison, another attorney, Roy Galliano, brother, he will be speaking. Argelia Galliano, sister-in-law, Diane Galliano, mother, Darrell Bordelon, friend, Pam Wilson, sister, Ashley Lane, wife, and she will also be speaking. And Mr. Glenn Wilson Jr., who is a nephew. Have I missed anyone on either side? Did I miss anyone and didn't announce their name and relationship? Okay, I did. Okay, we're at Louisiana State Penitentiary. This case has been assigned to, oh, let me read your dates into the record. I'm sorry. Okay, you were sentenced to a 40-year sentence. Your parole date is 12/1/24. You have a good time date of 12/1/38, and you have a full term date of 12/2/44. Does that all sound correct to you, Mr. Galliano?
Sir.
Okay, your case has been assigned to Mr. Prater. Mr. Prater, would you begin the question, please, sir?
Okay, Mr. Galliano, let me ask you something. How long have you been how many years have you served sentenced? How much time have you been behind bars?
Almost 20 years.
Almost 20. Okay.
20 December.
All right. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the incident, but let's start before that with the baby that had the broken leg. Tell me how that happened, because that could be the difference between a serial or just an incident.
Yes, sir. On that date of the broken leg, my dad and I was on the way to a camper repair place, and Christopher was in the backseat behind my dad. We got to the camper place, and my dad got out, and I got out, and 4 of the camper guys came out, and I was taking Christopher out of his booster seat and talking to the camper guys at the same time. And when I picked him up, I pulled him out, and it sounded like a popping sound. So I told my dad, I said, I need to take him to the hospital. See, he wasn't crying or anything like that, but I wanted to take him just to make sure everything was okay.
And you took the baby to the hospital, and then what happened? What did the hospital say?
They said it was a broken, or it wasn't a fractured leg. It wasn't broken, it was fractured.
Same thing, but what part of the leg was fractured?
The lower leg.
Okay, and the baby didn't cry?
No, he didn't cry. And my dad was even said he didn't see, everybody was standing around when it happened, and they didn't think any to even take him to the hospital. I said, no, just take him to the hospital and have him checked out, just to be sure.
Okay. Well, let's fast forward 6 months or 5 months to the incident that put you where you are. Tell me about that day.
On the date and time of that incident, I was in the backyard with Christopher, and he was playing with one of our new puppies we just got, and I was cleaning up around the yard, and I noticed Christopher had urinated on himself. So I called Christopher's name to get his attention, and he wasn't paying me no attention. He was paying attention to the dog. So I walked over to Christopher and I knelt down in front of him and placed my hands under his arms to explain to him, the importance of letting me know when he's got to go to the bathroom, because we were potty training him at the time. And he still wasn't paying me attention. So that's when I had shook Christopher to try to get his attention away from the dog. And he still wasn't giving me no attention. So I took him inside, changed his clothes, and I noticed that he started going into what appeared to be a seizure, which was something I never seen Christopher do before. So I ran next door to my dad's house so he could call 911 while I did CPR on him until the EMT got there.
Okay. That's all I have. Ms. Ledoux?
Have you seen Christopher since you were sent to jail?
No, ma'am. The last time I seen Christopher was at the hospital that night. That was the last time I seen Christopher.
Are you aware of his condition today?
No, ma'am.
You don't know the condition he's in now?
No, ma'am. I have no input on
Okay. Have you taken victim awareness classes?
Yes, ma'am. That was one of my main classes I took that got the most out of. It gave me the ability to realize how many people was infected by my actions that day. It also gave me an understanding and was able to hear from other victims on how someone's actions affected their lives. But mostly it gave me a chance to write an accountability letter to Christopher and apologize for my actions.
And you were 32, you were about 32 years old when this crime occurred?
No, ma'am. No,
Oh.
ma'am, I was 21. 21.
Sorry about that. Bad calculation on my part. 21. Okay, thank you. I have no other questions, Mr.
Okay,
Freeman.
I just have a couple questions. Were you ever at the state police barracks?
Yes, sir. 5 years at State Police Barracks.
Okay, why were you removed from the state police barracks?
A cell phone.
Okay, you got caught with contraband, okay. And I see you went to the hospital a good bit. Could you tell me why? It's been recently. Well, you have any medical issues that we should know about?
I had cellulitis in my leg. I didn't know what it was. I work a lot. I work 7 days a week. So my leg started swelling up and I thought it was just a rash. So I just kind of let it go for a little while. And when I finally did go see, it got to a point where they had to take me to the hospital. I spent 7 days in the hospital behind it.
Did you take the victim impact class?
Yes.
What did you learn from that?
Just on how my actions have affected so many people. And I can't even put into words how sorry I am just it's just a lot. Yeah.
All right, I have no further questions, so we're gonna move on and first to speak on your behalf will be Roy Galliano, brother.
Me? Yes, sir, it's me.
Mr. Graviano, please identify yourself and
Junior, I'm his older brother.
okay, and what would you like us to know about?
Well, I'm obviously here to support him, but also I have a job for him, a full-time employment, a place to stay. He's gonna have transportation, a company vehicle, and a truck. I own an AC business, been in business about 26 years.
Okay.
And we also, he's gonna, he'll be where we can help him get back into society and become a tax-paying citizen and working his way back into the real world.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Next we'll have Ashley Lane, his wife.
Hi, that's me. I am Ashley. I'm Joe's wife. I know that we are limited on time, so I'm going to try and say it fast and wrap it up for you guys. Joe and I have been together for the past 8 years. Next month will be 5 years. Joe and I have been married, and I must say over the years, I have seen his growth. He has become very humble, very loving and kind, patient and understanding. Joe has poured into my life spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Not only has he poured into my life, but also the lives of my children. I have a 20-year-old son who graduated at the age of 18, and he was a little conflicted on what it was that he wanted to do after graduation. So he had a conversation with Joe, and he helped him, choose which route he wanted to go. So he chose HVAC. He went through his schooling, and throughout his schooling, he reached out to Joe to ask a million questions and keep him updated on what was happening during school, even throughout his EPA study. So he passed his EPA. Joe was the first person he wanted to let know. Graduation was kind of bittersweet. He walked across the stage and received his certification, and he wished Joe was there to be a part of that. So now he is 20 years old. He owns his own business. He is EPA certified, registered in the state of Louisiana and insured. And he gives a huge thanks to Joe for being there throughout his journey. He couldn't be here with us today, but he is joining us via Zoom. So he had a real huge impact on him, as well as my 22-year-old son, who was headed down a rough path, making poor decisions, hanging out with the wrong kids. And Joe said, let me talk to him. And I did. And Joe didn't talk at him. He didn't point out the things that he did wrong. He simply prayed for him, encouraged him, motivated him, and advised him, to choose better friends. And it worked. So he's now back in college. He's working. And I believe in my heart that it was because of that conversation. And he continued to just check in with them, make sure they're okay, make sure they're staying on the right path. And so my prayer today is that you guys would find it in your hearts to grant him parole so that he could continue to pour not only into my children's lives, but also into the lives of people in the community, on his job, at church. And he does have a phenomenal support system in myself, my children, the rest of his family and friends. We all love him, we support him, and we are here to make sure that he gets reacclimated in society and be able to know how to navigate the changes that occurred since him being incarcerated. So thank you guys for letting me speak this morning.
Thank you for speaking. Okay, now we'll go to Mr. Kerry Myers of the Parole Project.
Good morning, Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. We're here to support Mr. Galliano should this board grant him today. Mr. Galliano will certainly benefit from the resources our program has to offer, particularly our residential reentry program. Beyond that, we'll continue to provide case management for Mr. Galliano should he need any support down the road. We were impressed by Mr. Galliano's record. He's got over 400 days of CTRP credits. He's a trustee. He works AC, HVAC. He's got employment waiting for him. He's got a very supportive family. We would just ask this board to consider all these things. Parole Project stands ready to assist Mr. Galliano in his transition, and we know that he has put himself in the best possible position for success, and Parole Project will help him down that road.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, all right, now we're going to hear from Mr. Galliano. What do you have to say for yourself? What would you like us to know? Let me ask you one more question. I was looking at your disciplinary report. What was the contraband for in 2022?
22 was they found pills in my computer at work, which was in a open work area. It was deferred to a lie detector test, and I took a lie detector test and passed it. So it's supposed to be taken out of my record.
So Mr. Freeman, we actually have a statement from Brandy Perry at Hunt that I can ask Reginald to fax over. But back in January of 2024, Mr. Perry reviewed the record and saw the conduct report was deferred, and that report is no longer in his record. I can have this faxed over to you if you like.
Okay, I trust you. Okay, and last question, Mr. Galliano, what was the other contraband for in 2020?
20 was a dirty urine. I filed an appeal on that as well. And as you could see from my record, my trustee status was not taken and none of my privileges was taken away. It was supposed to be taken out of my record.
Okay.
From what I was told.
I just wanted to know what the contrabands were. Okay, Ms. Brosalt, would you like to speak now? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, the offender.
And Mr.
Galliano.
Do you have word about good?
Mr. Freeman.
Yes. I had you next.
This okay. All right. I'm getting questions across the room. No, that's fine.
No, go ahead. Good. I probably should have went with you before I spoke. Yeah. What do you have to say, Warden?
Okay. So I am limited on what I can tell you about Joe because he AU'd into us in 8 of 2022. He came to us as a Class A trustee. Came to us for continuing of him doing his HVAC work. So he has worked as a Class A trustee here since 8 of 22. And, you know, he's got, since he's also taken his victim awareness. He's done his accountability letter. He's got thinking for a change. So in the short time that he's been here, he's been Class A trustee. He's done a good job for us as far as maintenance, but he's continued in his program.
I'm good. Appreciate it, Warden.
All right.
Okay, now, Ms. Borsalt.
Mr. Freeman,
I'd like to say something, Mr. Lancaster.
Mr. Galliano has a statement that he'd like to make for the committee.
Okay.
All right. First, I would like to thank the board for hearing my case today. I would also like to apologize again to Christopher and his family for all the pain and suffering I've caused them. As you can see from my record from day one coming into prison, I've taken and done everything that the DOC system offers to better myself. I've also taken a step further and became a mentor and mentored other guys at work, at church, in classroom training. A lot of my mentees got paroled out and in the HVAC business. I just want to let y'all know that and reassure y'all, if I am granted my parole today, that I will not be coming back to prison. This is a one-time thing for me.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now, let's see if we can get this straightened out. Now you get to speak.
Good morning, dear member of the committee. So I'm Lou Bourseau, an international student from France here at LSU. I first wanted to thank you to allow me to speak on behalf of Mr. Galliano. So even though I'm not certificate under Louisiana Rule 20, I have been assisting Mr. Galliano through the preparation of this hearing, and I also submitted a brief on behalf of his application. So first, I want to highlight Mr. Galliano's work because he shows consistency by keeping the same job for 20 years. He is actually valued and respected for his job. He has become a mentor to teach other inmates his experience and his skill in this job. Actually, some of those inmates are out now of prison and are doing really well and work in HVAC company due to Joe's positive influence of them. So also Joe, during his time in prison, he took a lot of programming to try to better himself and work on the things that led him to be into prison. He took victim awareness, anger management. He is now more able to deal with his emotion. He thinks before acting, and he has become a more calm person, and he's focused on his goal. He also, Mr. Galliano, has a low Tiger score, highlighting the fact that he has a low risk of recidivism if he is granted the privilege of parole. He only got 5 write-up in 20 years in prison and always make sure to comply with the rule of the prison. So he is actually a trustee for 15 years and gained the trust of the warden. Also, finally, Mr. Galliano have planned a really realistic re-entry plan. First, he's going to have the support of the Louisiana Parole Project that will ensure his transition into the outside world. And after, he's going to have a place at his brother that's going to be near his job, where he will continue to do the same job as the one he's doing right now in prison, and for which he's really valued. So for all those reasons and the reason that we stayed during this hearing, we humbly ask that the committee will grant Mr. Galliano parole with any condition that you think are appropriate. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. And before I go to our last speaker, Mr. Myers, I would just like to read into the record that Judge Cox, who took Judge Wicker's place, who was the original sentencing judge, is opposed. No comment from the district attorney. The sheriff is opposed, Joseph Pinto. The chief didn't comment. The family, Miss Wilson, your sister, is unopposed. Miss Diane Galliano, your mother, is unopposed. And the victim, James Cook, the grandfather of Christopher Cook, who has raised him, is very much opposed. Okay, so at this time, I will let Mr. Myers speak.
Good morning, Randall Myers, Assistant DA Jefferson Parish. We're strongly opposed to Mr. Galliano's request, as is Mr. Cook. I spoke to Mr. Cook last week. He didn't have the ability to be able to log into this hearing today. He didn't understand how to do that. So that's why he is not here with us today. First I'd like to say, I don't know that there's anything that a 2-year-old could do that would deserve to be abused, much less to have to suffer the serious abuse that occurred in this particular case. And not only was it this particular incident, but when you look back at the prior incident with the broken leg, I've got a 6, a 4, and 2-year-old grandchildren, and to end up with a fractured leg taking them out of the car seat has to be significantly more than what Mr. Galliano explained to the board today as to how that incident happened. Also, his description of how the incident that resulted in these charges happened is not believable. Mr. Galliano said he put his arms under the child's his hands under the child's arms and shook him briefly because of him urinating on himself. But when the child was brought to the hospital, he was diagnosed with shaken baby syndrome, 22 bruises on his body. He's got a brain injury. He's partially paralyzed on the right side. He wears a brace to help him use his right arm and his right leg, and he needs special glasses to be able to see. This child has a 21-year-old child now has a serious, injury that's directly the result of abuse that was inflicted on him when he was 2 years old. It's truly unbelievable. And I think 19 years out of a 40-year sentence, or almost 20 years, is insufficient time to serve for the crime that was committed. And so if we go and look at some of the things that Mr. Galliano's done while incarcerated, he started getting some disciplinary reports. He said in 2020 he failed a drug test, or dirty urine as he called it, that he appealed, but that is still in the record. I don't see where that has been removed from his record, nor was the contraband removed. But I think that one is more, sounds like it potentially could have been removed. I think the programming that he has taken that relate to this offense is very limited. And I'm not exactly sure what additional programs they have to assist him there, but he's only taken an anger management and a nurturing parent course. Other than that, there's nothing that he has taken that deals with abusing children and how to prevent abusing children in the future. So for those reasons and the extremely strong victim opposition, we are opposed to his request. Thank you.
Okay, I think that about wraps it up, or is the board ready to vote? Okay, Mr. Prater, you'll be first.
Okay, Mr. Galliano, because of the seriousness of the crime, because there were two incidents, we're not talking about just one, we're talking about two incidents. And the fact that there was additional bruising that we didn't really talk about a whole lot. And the fact that you've served just less than half of your time, I'm gonna vote to deny it at the time. I appreciate all the work that you're doing. I appreciate the reputation you've gotten at the correctional facilities that you've been in. But at this point, like I say, I'm gonna vote to deny.
In addition to Mr. Prater's concerns noted, I would also point out severe victim opposition, law enforcement opposition, and I too grant, I too vote to deny.
Okay, and looking at this case, I'm more nervous about the write-ups than anything right now. Both of them dealt with drugs. I think maybe you might need to revisit some more drug treatment and then reapply, but my vote is also to deny.
Thank you.
This concludes.
Step out the door.
Let's see if I can do this one perfect without any errors. Okay, good morning. We're back at Louisiana State Penitentiary. Today is April the 17th. The Honorary Parole Board consists of myself, Pete Freeman, Chair, Mr. Prater to my left, and Miss Jerry to my right, Miss Ledoux to my right. Today, we're going to have a hearing on Adam Smith. Your case has been assigned to me, Mr. Smith. Do you have anyone that will be speaking on your behalf?
My sister and my brother were supposed to come, but I guess they might be in Baton Rouge on a Zoom or something.
Okay, is anyone on Zoom? Okay, nobody's on Zoom.
All right.
All right. And we also have Mr. Randy Myers who will be speaking. And that's all I have listed. Anybody else on that wishes to speak? Okay, Mr. Smith, would you state your name and DOC number for me, please, sir?
Adam Smith, 70741.
Okay. All right. And I've been assigned your case today, so I'm going to be asking the questions, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You are a first-class offender. You were sentenced to life in prison for the charge of first-degree rape. Back in 1970, you were sentenced. Is that information correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here are my questions. Okay, Mr. Smith. What was going on in your life at that time? I mean, what would make you do such a thing?
I was a little young, wild juvenile. I didn't actually commit the crime. Jefferson Parish had several records stating that the victims has testified that and give the statement that my older and bigger Smith accomplice was on the charge with me, had actually did that, and they had made a statement to the coroner and the district attorney in Jefferson Parish at that time that the bigger boy, Donald Smith, had raped them, not me. It was three of us together, sir. I was a wild young juvenile just out the juvenile home. You know,
So what did
I
you
was
do?
doing off all kind of stuff.
Just there or what?
Sir?
Did you witness the rape? Were you there?
Yes, sir, I was there.
Okay, and then how did this occur? I mean, how did y'all come in contact with these two girls?
They were kidnapped from armed robbery. They robbed a place. I was there during the participation of the robbery.
Okay, so you did
They decided to take these people off the telephone.
Okay. Being there when a crime is committed is also like committing the crime yourself. Did you do
Yes,
anything?
sir. I know that's a
stop the crime?
conspiracy before, after the fact, or something, the way they say it.
Right. Did you try to stop the crime? Did you call any law?
No,
Okay.
sir.
All right. And you're 70 years old, correct?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been in prison on this
Years old
charge?
at the time.
How long
54 years.
Okay.
I guess
and how
October be 54. I've been off the street 54 years, January 28.
Okay. And how old were you when this crime
15
occurred?
years old, 15.
15 years old. And so how long have you been in Angola?
Times I went to Satellite in 76. I went to Phelps, we called it Quincy at that time. I had done
Correct.
almost 7 years when I went for there. Then I went to Court Order a couple of times, one time about 9 months, and around 1979. All the rest of the time I was here, sir.
Okay. You told me you had just got out of the juvenile. Is that correct?
That's in New Orleans called the Milder Boys Home at that time.
Okay, and how long did you stay in there?
4 months.
Okay, and why were you there?
Just being bad, not going to school, truancy, all this kind of stuff. So my aunt that was raising me at that time had me put in the juvenile things for not going to school.
Okay. I see you have a residence plan in Texas. Who are you gonna live with down there and where are you gonna work?
I was gonna do that when I get down there. If I got it approved, I had people, relatives down there in Texas were gonna try to get me a job situation. But they had told me that this didn't get approved. That somebody was misinformed and give me the information back. They told me I couldn't go to Texas. I had to stay
Okay,
in
Warren,
Louisiana.
y'all get something back on compact with regard to Texas?
Yes, sir. I turned in there.
Okay, no, let the warden speak.
Hang on one second, Mr. Freeman, we're looking it up right quick.
Okay.
I didn't see anything and I'm looking right here and I don't have anything.
You know,
To the best of
don't
our
see
knowledge
it.
right now, looking at his record, looking in the computer, we do not.
Okay, thank you, sir. It should be in the computer, right? If it was filed, ladies? Okay. Okay, Mr. Smith, I don't know where things got turned around, but you compacted text that says we showing that it's never been submitted. Where would you
All right.
stay and live around here if you got out?
Any one of the halfway houses for facility. I'll go to Alexandria, Lake Charles, Baton Rouge, any facility they have open. San Francisville.
Okay,
Several.
just
Wow.
real hard
Doesn't
to
matter.
get, sex
I'll go
offender.
right there in one of them.
Okay, let me ask you this. Did you have to take the sex offender classes? I saw you took 1 and 2. Did you
Yes,
take
sir.
them
I
all?
took all of them.
Okay, good, good. I just wanted
All
to make
four
sure.
phases. All 4 phases of it, sir.
Okay, and you took anger management. You take any other classes while you were there?
I took the whole 100-hour program in
Okay.
2012.
I see you took victim awareness. You took anything else? Anger management?
Yes, sir. Took 2 phases of that. Got all my certificates right here.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this is what really concerns me. You have 110 write-ups. Now, you've been there a long time, so, 54 years, 110 write-ups. But the bad part about it is if you got 2 in 2022, about a year and a half ago. You got 1 for a 19 self-mutilation. What were you doing? How were you hurting yourself?
I was trying to go to the hospital at the time, and the sick call man didn't want to let me go or something there, and I feel as though if I cut myself with the razor, I could get over there to the emergency room and see somebody.
Got it.
I know I went at it the wrong way, but
right.
That's where
And
my
what
mind is.
about August 17th, and 22, you got arrested for a 3 and a 5, defiance and an aggravated disobedience. What was that about?
Trying to see what that was about. 22?
22, August 19th of 22.
All right. That's what it was. I was over there in A block, and they said they was coming around to paint or do something with the lights. My pressure got up high out there on the yard. We was out in the hot sun, and I asked to see the emergency team people, and they didn't do it. So they told me I had to stay out there in the hot sun. I told them I couldn't stay out there. I was having dizzy. My pressure was going up. I have a serious problem with high blood pressure. My heart and stuff be acting up when I get in severe heat like that. I wasn't used to being out on that yard. No, I don't even come outside on the yard. So they wouldn't call nobody for me at that time. And they wind up put me in route me up, put me in the administrative service there. I had to go to court for that.
Okay, all right. I have no further questions. Any of y'all have asked any questions? Right.
Let me ask you about the incident you say you weren't involved in, but you have 2 females and you have 3 males. And one of the females says that while somebody was raping somebody inside the car, a man and a woman, the 2 outside the car, one of them held her legs apart while the other raped her, and then they switched places. Now that's all 3 people doing a rape according to the 2 females. All 3 males doing rape according to the female. That didn't happen that way, huh?
No, sir. You probably got to get the archives of Jefferson Parish back there. Got them had the original statements. And a lawyer named Lionel Collins went to be a judge later on. Was trying to get me off on that. The other boy went to the juvenile home. This older girl was named Cynthia Kaiser, according to their records down there in Jefferson Parish. See, she was the only one that was raped by the older, bigger boy. The other girl name was Lorraine Fagan, and they had her down as a virgin. Nobody was never raped this girl. And she had her statements in there also. They was trying to get us cut loose on. And it could be proven if somebody get down there to Jefferson Parish. That other girl was a virgin. Name was Lorraine Fagan. I never forget her name. She was 15. The one named Cynthia Kaiser said the bigger boy, was by record name was Donald Smith. Said that was I don't know about nobody holding anybody down.
You didn't know anything about that, huh?
No, sir.
And
As
so, so
I
just
know, that was never.
were you there? Were you there?
I was there, but not on this. Where you got that stuff? What you reading now? I was there when this actual crime took place.
You were present when the crime took place.
Yes, sir, but not with that. Not that part. The first time I'm hearing something like that. Somebody was held down.
You're
2
saying
girls were raped.
You're saying just one of the women was raped?
Yeah, one of the girls were raped. The older girl was named Cynthia Kaiser. That's down there in Jefferson Parish. That's in their records. Supposed to be in their archive.
But the other
statements of hers were that this older, bigger boy raped her. The other 2 little ones didn't do anything. They see the victim statement. They had her back all in the courthouse and everything. That the bigger boy was bullying the 2 little ones and had them doing what they want them to stand by and do different things, giving them the orders. That's the kind of statements they had on them.
And so, listen to what I'm saying. Listen, you're saying only one girl was raped. Is that what you're saying?
That's what they had on their records originally, sir.
I don't care what they got in the record. You tell me. How many girls were raped?
It was 2 girls. One was 15, one was 16.
How many girls were raped?
According to her statement, the one girl name was Cynthia. Said she was raped, sir.
Listen to me. You're not answering my question. You were there. You witnessed it. How many girls were raped?
As far as I know, one, Chief. Sir. One girl.
As far as you know, one. Well, you were there.
I was outside the car while the bigger boy, the oldest one, was in the car with this other girl. This one was sitting out here on the ground. Ain't nobody touched her. Nobody. Her name was Lorraine Fagan.
Did you ever get in the car with Lorraine?
The lead. When all us left. I got back in the car.
Okay, I don't have any other questions because they turned into arguments because they didn't what the reports show. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Mr. Do you have any questions? Okay, so there's no questions. Okay, so now we will go to there's okay, that's the only person here is Mr. Randall. Okay, well, let me put in the record the comments for the record. The judge was Judge Sarkaria. She's no longer presiding, but the presiding judge is opposed. That is the new judge, Frank Zachariah. Okay, and he took Chris Cox's place.
Excuse me, that's just the opposite. Judge Zachariah was the
Cox took his place.
Judge Cox is the current judge.
Opposed. Okay, no comment from the district attorney, but Mr. Myers is here. Opposed is Sheriff Pinto. No one's here to speak on your behalf. And we'll get to your statement afterwards. Okay, Mr. Myers, what do you have to say?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Randy Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. So there was a petition for habeas corpus that was filed in this case, and opinions went to the Louisiana Supreme Court. And just scanning through that opinion, based on what Mr. Smith was saying, that he didn't commit this offense. One statement in this opinion talks about Mr. Smith admitted he had confessed to the crime. The district attorney allowed the defense counsel to see the entire file, and they concluded that the state had a very strong case against Mr. Smith, which resulted in his guilty plea to the 2 counts of aggravated rape. I spoke with one of the victims last week, and Ms. Kaiser, Cynthia Kaiser, Ms. Fagan is deceased. She remains very traumatized. She stated to the victim coordinator that I feel like the state should just do what they think is best. In my speaking with her, spoke with her at length and her husband at length about the case, and they agreed with my position that we are strongly opposed to his request for parole. Now, if we look at the facts as I see them in the reports, it's a little bit different than what Mr. Smith is contending. The record shows that he got out the car with another man, raped the now deceased victim outside the vehicle, while the other defendant assisted by holding her legs open, and then they swapped. Then Mr. Smith went in the vehicle and raped the lady in the back seat. She identified him, and identified Mr. Smith as the culprit. Now, how did this offense occur? Mr. Smith and 2 other guys stole a rifle somewhere. Then they stole a car. Then they took the stolen car and a couple of guns, and they saw these 2 young girls on a telephone, walked up with the guns, abducted them, took them in the car from Orleans Parish to Jefferson Parish, where they were raped, and then fortunately subsequently let go. So what has he been doing since he's been incarcerated? Well, he's had 110 disciplinary reports, 15 reports since 2016, 6 reports in 2021 and 2022. So clearly he is not learning how to deal with the prison system. Typically, after so many years incarcerated, their write-ups seem to, you may get a lot of them in the early years, but you don't get a whole lot in the later years. He continues to get plenty of disciplinary reports. Very concerning to me is 2021, he had a sex offense. 1981, he also had a sex offense. So he's had 2 sex offenses while he's been incarcerated. Progress report notes that he is a fair prison record. And his programming has been limited. The program that he has taken essentially is 100 hours. He took a cage of rage, anger management. He did have the sex offender treatment, which is good. And he obtained his GED. Very few programs dealing with rehabilitation and getting I guess some with rehabilitation, but to help him when if he would ever get out, to have an opportunity to earn a living. This was a violent crime committed by 3 guys against 2 young girls. My opinion is he needs to remain in prison for the entirety of his sentence. We're opposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. Okay, last but not least, Warden Falco, do you have anything to say?
No, sir, Mr. Freeman, I don't have anything to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is the panel ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay, since it was my case, I'm gonna vote first. Mr. Smith, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I read it and all, and I saw how long you had been in and you're taking your sex offender classes, I came here today to vote for you to get out. But then I learned you don't have a residence plan that's approved. It's hard to get an approved sex offender plan. Plus you just take no responsibility. Being there is enough. I mean, you took these girls with 2 rifles. You took something from them that could never be given back to them, as they were both very young ladies at the time. And I think you need a psych evaluation. You're cutting yourself and you're doing things of that nature. So Warden, if you could try to get him that psych evaluation, but my vote today is to deny with all the reasons stated.
I vote to deny. Same reasons, continued discipline problems, failure to admit your involvement and your attitude.
I concur with my colleagues. My vote is to deny.
Okay, Mr. Smith, that is the vote today. The vote is to deny. We will be closing out at Louisiana State Police at 11:38. Thank you, Warden.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.